Hola, hola, my name is Ramon, cosmetic formulator, esthetician, skincare trend reporter, and we're here to look at a year in review for 2021 on skincare trends we're looking to leave back in this year, as well as looking on the horizon to 2022 to see what skincare trends are up and coming or that we hope to see hot in the new year. I have my Starbucks. I have a list of answers from you guys on Instagram. I posted this question a couple times over the last couple months just to get some feedback, some input from my Instagram followers. If you don't follow me on Instagram, why not? Follow me, it's at Glowy Skin. Let's get started with skincare trends we're leaving in 2021. First things first, face masks. So we're not talking about like COVID face masks. We still want those, please use them. We're talking sheet masks. And I had this a few times actually. And honestly, my own answer to that is no. I get that they're not the most environmentally sound option. There's a self-care element to them. I think they're a great option for people who want to like use a serum and like do some stuff around the house and have that like occluded layer. What I will say is that there is now like a reusable sheet mask option. I know doing experiments, they have a really cool like neon green one. That's a really cool like leave-on option. Really worth looking into if you want that sheet mask experience while also being more sustainable, but I'm not looking for sheet masks to leave anytime soon. Next one, and this was actually submitted by a really cool subscriber. Her name is The Glow Scout. Please follow her. And she was like, I'm tired of hyaluronic acid being the star humectant, and I stand behind this 10,000%. Hyaluronic acid is a really great humectant. It does what it needs to do. It does it well. It is an ingredient that is very hygroscopic, meaning it attracts water, it pulls water to it, and it holds up to 10,000 times its own weight in water. So when you have it in a skincare product, it pulls water to the surface layer of the skin or from the environment. So you really keep your skin nicely plump and hydrated. Other ingredients do it well or do it even better. And honestly, they deserve a lot more hype. First and foremost, glycerin. Star ingredient, one of my favorites. You have a lot of other humectants too. Exfoliants, AHAs can be humectants as well. PHAs are a really great option, an example of that as well. But I definitely agree with that. One I got a lot, and this was actually really hot last year too, is people are still tired of niacinamide. And I get it, but I also don't. And I'm not riding this train as hard as everyone else is. I think, and I've seen this in a few of the submissions for these trends, people don't like hype. People don't like a lot of marketing focus on an ingredient, which I can stand behind. I get that. And we saw a lot of products really hype up niacinamide, and we saw even launches into this year really focus on that as well. I mean, it's a great ingredient. It does what it needs to do and it does it well and everyone can use it and it has a lot of benefits to it. So I don't get why people are so over it. I get why people are over the hyper focus, hyper fixation on it, but niacinamide's been around for a long time. It's been around for a minute and it's gonna be around. Even products that don't even focus on that being a star ingredient will feature niacinamide. So get that out of your head first of all. But I do understand kind of like people are just tired of seeing it as the star ingredient and the star promoted ingredient in a product or like the star feature in a line. I can understand that. Less of a hyperfixation on niacinamide itself or like less on single ingredient products, which was also a really hot submission as people are tired of single ingredient focused skincare products. And that's why I think the focus on more like complex ingredients products or like products focusing on a specific benefit with a really good mixture of ingredients is what I want to see in this new year. Verse does that really, really well. Naturium does it really well. Glow Recipe does it well. Those are brands I like to see because they will focus on an overall concept. So let's focus on this like watermelon moisturizer or this pigment fading serum that has a really good mix of ingredients to give those benefits. Next up, exfoliating acids. And why do you want to get rid of that? Like, I don't understand. What I will say and what I'm really actually excited about is a lot of brands looking at what's on the market and being like, we want variety and options for people who have sensitive skin, compromised skin, want to use these specific acids, but don't have the ability to tolerate high strengths of these acids. So let's look at how we can give these acids in a more tolerable, sensitive skin friendly option. I think a good example of this was I did a ad featuring a Perito exfoliant and it had 7% glycolic acid with I think 1% salicylic acid. So really good AHA, BHA combo at a much lower percentage and in a really hydrating vehicle. And that in itself is great for someone who wants to use glycolic acid, but at a much lower percentage and not at 25% in a like peel exfoliant. Really great option. And I think looking more at things like that, or like how Stratia has their mandelic acid topical serum, and it's a really great gentle serum that everyone can use. It's a very good sensitive skin tolerable exfoliant. That's what I want to see more of. I'm not mad at exfoliants. They have a lot of benefits. And I think a lot of skin types can benefit from regular exfoliation as long as it's appropriate for the skin type. But I'm more excited to see the innovation of exfoliants and what we're able to get with those. I'm not trying to see those go anywhere. Clean beauty came up a lot as well. And a lot of science focused influencers, I think, have been doing a lot of content around around recently. And I really do understand it. I'm also personally not for clean beauty, and the marketing behind it, the free from claims, the no lists, the fear mongering around different concepts. And that's what a lot of us science focused creators are really looking to leave behind. For example, it's saying things like no silicones, no parabens, no fragrance. But in reality, those no's are taken from grossly misinterpreted scientific studies where the actual impact on human topical application is greatly exaggerated or completely misconstrued. For example, parabens, people were saying, well, parabens were found to bioaccumulate, meaning like they were found in human tissue samples. And also because of those studies, a lot more studies were done by pretty much every major regulatory system around the world and were still deemed to be very safe to be used topically on skin in terms of like skincare application. So parabens have been proven to be safe, but they're still shown as being on no list because people are still fearful of them. The no sulfates, no fragrance things, that's more of like a skin sensitivity thing. People want fragrance for the most part. Fragrance has been really greatly demonized because a small percentage of people are allergic to them or have sensitivity to them. But that's like saying, let's cancel peanut butter because people got peanut allergies. We're not about to do that. You have great creators like Skin Chemi, Lab Muffin, The Eco Well, me, Capricornium Skin, Skimrander 14, Melanin Chemist, Esther Olu, my best friend. Obviously, we do a lot of content, really try to explain like, here's what the fear mongering is and here's what the reality is behind it. That being said, the reason it exists is because there's a want for it. Right now, I'm in this point with my program, speaking to different formulators and different brands overall, kind of getting their perspective on how clean beauty, especially consumer want, has really led and driven the industry to get to where it is now. And it's because it's a very equal push and pull. The industry is kind of feeding into a lot of what consumer fears are, but then also consumers are saying, we want this. We're not going to buy if it has this because we saw an article on Facebook about paraben being bad. So we don't want those in our skincare. So it's very much a push-pull, I will say that. And brands are not aiding in it very much either. So I do understand that. But kind of going on to the next part, something that someone else input was they're kind of over the over-scientification of skincare and the complicating factors and elements behind it. To an extent, I do understand that as well. Recently, there's been a really big push, I think, for like science-focused creators, not just derms, no derms anymore, but like chemist-focused or like biology-focused majors, really coming into skincare game. A lot of people's complaints now is that it's just getting too complicated. And there's a lot of now what I say is equivalent energy to what the clean beauty movement is, but from the science side now, where it's becoming extremely polarizing, extremely daunting. People are kind of speaking at consumers or everyday individuals in a way that's so highbrow, high level that it's so confusing that it's becoming really frustrating. When people don't know, okay, so should I use the serum or should I not? Or the overcomplication of simple skincare ingredients, how they function. When in reality, the same information can be translated or given in a much more simple to follow way so that it's not so daunting and so it's not so complicated. Like skincare fundamentally should be fun. I'm a chemist and I'm the one saying like, you know, just go back to enjoying your skincare. If it works for you, it works for you. If you like using it and it makes you happy, keep doing so. You don't have to have all this complicated understanding of what goes in your products, how to make them work better. Are they penetrating your skin? That's what my job is. I'd like to educate you on that, and I hope to do so in a way that you hopefully understand and it's not going too far above your head that it's frustrating to you. Michelle Lab Muffin does an incredible job of this as well, and I really appreciate her way of doing this because I think she was the one who really set the bar for all of us, and she was a big inspo for me. So she's also a really great resource and a great way of doing so. But even I'm over kind of like how over sciencey things have gotten, and people are just really taking the fun out of it. Enjoy your skincare again, please. Mineral sunscreens being still like the main hype, and this goes back to the clean beauty and the fear-mongering claims. With the mineral sunscreens, it's the fact that they are natural. Minerals are found in the earth, so they're natural. That is not actually true. We still actually have to chemically synthesize the titanium dioxide, the zinc oxide that are used in your sunscreens through chemical means. It's not like we go and like just mine them and there they are. No, we actually have to use a reaction to get them. Not only that, but the particles have to be chemically treated and have to be chemically coated in order for them to be used successfully in a sunscreen formulation. There's a lot of chemicals involved, a lot of synthetic processing involved in getting those natural ingredients. So there's nothing natural about it. But also there's a lot of misinformation about how they work. Mineral sunscreen filters work in the same exact way, for the most part, as chemical sunscreen filters work. They both work to absorb, convert, and release heat, UV energy in the form of heat. Whereas mineral sunscreens only reflects a small percentage, like 5 to 10% of that UV radiation back. Whereas people thought that those mineral sunscreen filters reflected 100%, like they were a physical shield. That's why they're called physical filters. They're not, that's not the case. And the main thing I will say is the point of contention of why you might choose to prefer mineral filters is the fact that with chemical filters, you do have a little bit more of a likelihood of potentially facing some irritation, some sensitivity related issues with chemical filters. So it's really dependent on the individual person and not like a really hard and fast rule. Next one is slugging, which kind of goes back to people just don't like fads or really big trends. I mean, slugging is not anything new. It just got like new hype this year, but it's basically just layering a very thick layer of Vaseline on top of your skin after your skincare routine to really lock in the hydration and or to protect the skin. Vaseline is a skin protectant first and foremost. It's a very occlusive layer. And so with that, it's really locking in what's underneath it fairly well and preventing things like transepidermal water loss or helping to protect the skin from outside factors. A point that I recently saw on Twitter, which actually made a lot of sense to me, was that the Black community was kind of erased from the origin story of what slugging is, because during the winter months, it's a really common practice for Black parents to really slather their kids in Vaseline to keep their skin nicely moisturized and kind of protect it from the dryness of the cold during harsh winter months. But I don't see it. Slugging's not this huge fad. It's not like this like trend that doesn't have a purpose or a meaning or hasn't been around for forever. I think it's got a really big resurgence. People are kind of seeing it in a wrong light when it's a really good thing and it's something that has actual skin benefits to it. Long routines. As we all know, I always am about a long routine. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel at peace and gives you that self-care ritual, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't need to do one, but there's nothing wrong with it. So if it's not hurting anyone, it's not messing with anyone's life, just keep doing you. And last one, I'm gonna talk about skincare trends that someone put in here, KBeauty. What's wrong with KBeauty? What's wrong with KBeauty? I wanna know why you put this if this was you. But also, KBeauty is just in no sense any better or worse than Western beauty in terms of trends and fads and whatnot. The approach to how they do skincare in Korea is actually has a lot of benefits. They really focus on hydration, moisturization, skin nourishing benefits, and less on actives. We see a little bit more of that coming into the game now, but I think their approach to skincare is really nourishing it. Whereas in the West, it's like, let's go hard with the actives, let's dry your skin out. And I think we can stand to learn a lot from Korean beauty. I think there's a lot of magic and elegance and fun in K-beauty. It's not going anywhere. It's not. So get that out of your head now as well. So having gone through all of your submissions for what skincare trends you want to leave in 2021, let's look at what skincare trends you want to see happen in 2022. So first trend someone submitted is barbers using better products for customers' skin. And if you don't know, there's a lot of things on TikToks about barbers trying to do facials or waxes and whatnot. And they're like, you're a man, your skin can tolerate so much, let's go ham. I kind of agree with this, but I think it's really interesting that barbers are doing a lot more to like treat their clients better. And this kind of goes in with men's skincare. And I see a lot of people kind of being like, why are we marketing to men? I'm like, you know what? Marketing is marketing. Whatever you can use to sell a product, brands are gonna do. And that's fundamentally what a business is. I'm all for a men's skincare line, especially if it's going to encourage men to like want to take better care of themselves. What I want to see though is more effective men's skincare lines. I feel like men's skincare lines I see, A, are really expensive, but B, they don't necessarily do a lot, but they try to market their products in order to claim to do a lot of things. But it's like, it's a very simple face moisturizer. It's a very simple cleanser. They don't have a lot of the extras in there necessarily. Also, they don't have sunscreens a lot of times. Jack Black, whose products I feature here on the channel here and there, is a brand I see kind of do it fairly well. And I see kind of more general brands introduce men's lines into their whole lineup, but I have yet to really see like a brand really jump out and do a lot for me. But that's something I actually do want to see in 2022. Some other options I'm just going to run through real quick. Just doing what makes your skin happy, not following strict rules. Can get behind this, definitely do approve. If it makes you happy, do it. Body care. And body care was a big one actually for trends you wanted to see in 2021. When I did this video last year, we did see some body skincare launches, but honestly not as much as I thought we would. And I want to see more from them just because some brands did it and did it really nicely. Hero did some, Glow Recipe did a drop. Honestly, I really liked Glow Recipe, so I want to see what else they do. But I want to see just more full-size body treatment products so that you're actually getting a good amount of the product for your body, but that you actually can get a lot more of a benefit around. I'm good with body washes. I'm good with like body lotions, but I want to see like a really nice body essence, a really cool body treatment, body serum, multifaceted products instead of single ingredient products. Yes, we mentioned that already. Mild exfoliants. And what I will say about this is different kinds of exfoliants as well. Something I didn't mention for the trends we're ditching is people were saying physical exfoliants. I love a physical exfoliant. And I really like the technology we're developing around them, like different scrubs that are a lot more gentle or like combination exfoliants. I did a video on this. I'll have that linked in the cards. But for example, I did a video talking about Key Soul Care. Their Be Luminous exfoliants, the Pharrell Human Race exfoliant, the Naturium scrubs. Really loving that avenue we're getting into with getting back into physical exfoliants. We're not fearful of them anymore. Love to see those again and more of those from different brands because I like that direction. A physical exfoliant is perfectly safe to use. They can be gentle alternatives, especially if you can't tolerate chemical exfoliation. Definitely love that. But I also talked about in the trends we're ditching how we're getting a lot more complexity with chemical exfoliants. We're seeing strong exfoliants at more tolerable percentages and a good mix of them them as well. Love that direction. And I have a lot of submissions talking about getting back to enjoying skincare, back to the simplicity of skincare. I miss when you could just buy a moisturizer, use that moisturizer, enjoy that moisturizer. You didn't have someone critiquing and criticizing every single element about that moisturizer. When I'm in the bathroom for 15 to 45 minutes doing my skincare routine, I don't care about anyone, no one, nothing. I'm just looking at me and myself and how glowy and dewy and juicy my skin is looking. And like, I'm reveling in that fact. I want to get back to that this year. On a similar note, someone said, let's get back to glowy skin. I'm tired of matte. I'm tired of flat. Like I want glowy, juicy, and I don't care if I look oily. Like I want that look. I can get behind that to a certain extent. I am oily skin though, so I got to really be careful about how I do that. But there's just something really nice about really glowy, juicy, supple skin and how fresh and healthy it can look. Just last night, I went out and I was using Vaseline as skin prep underneath my makeup. My skin just looked really fresh and it didn't feel heavy and my skin was looking good. There was a matte radiance to me, which is like the balance I have to like precariously perch, but I love that look. I agree with this. Barrier repair. And I think a few brands definitely are focusing on barrier repair for skin in terms of 2022. I think, again, in the West, we focus a lot on actives. Let's get these actives in there. And I think if you focus on getting a barrier in check, you can actually alleviate a lot of skin issues you're facing, but also it helps to get your skin to a good spot so that the actives you want to use can be a lot more effective. You're not focused on a compromised barrier first, where your skin just needs to fix itself before it can focus on doing anything else. And so like barrier focus, I think, needs to be a primary concern for everyone first, as long as it's done in an appropriate way for your skin type. Like oily skin barrier care is definitely different than dry skin barrier care. That's definitely worth noting. Something that was interesting, but I've seen a lot, and this actually goes back to KBeauty, which is actually a very common submission. Onion, cabbage, veggie focused skincare. And I know I'm From, I believe, is the brand who did this, and they focus on a lot of like specific vegetable derived ingredients. I still have to look into this. I mentioned wanting to do a video about like their onion line and like looking into like why onion. I haven't. I will do that soon in the new year. It's interesting. And I feel this goes back to Korean skincare can oftentimes be very trend focused. And this is the trend I'm noticing right now. So I need to look into this first. A very common one, chemical SPFs. You want to see more chemical SPFs. You want to see more focus on combination sunscreens even, because those work really well. The Jack Black sunscreen, the combination sunscreen that works beautifully. I know Sunbum's got a combination sunscreen that works really, really well. Both of those work really great on deeper skin tones. Puritos was a really nice launch. What's really great is when you introduce mineral filters into a chemical sunscreen formula, oftentimes you're doing a lot to really bump up or stabilize the UV protection. I don't mind combination sunscreen as long as it's done right. So I really actually would want to see a little bit more of this. Someone put, they want to see us not following skincare trends at all, listening to your own skin's needs. I personally disagree with this, but I also agree with this in the sense that skincare trends make skincare fun, can lead to good things. I think if we get into a trend this year of stepping away from clean beauty marketing, from free from claims, and really focusing on more well-intentioned science-focused skincare, maybe that'll be a really good move and a trend in getting us away from clean beauty and more on like actually effective skincare that can work for everyone and isn't based around fear mongering. It's just a thought. But also, for example, it introduced and opened a lot of people's eyes to things like hyaluronic acid back in the day, niacinamide this last year, and a lot of other ingredients. Like right now, I think a really big trend we're getting into tranexamic acid. And that's a really great ingredient, as I mentioned, that can focus and target on hyperpigmentation. Love that trend. Want to see more of that trend. I think it gets people into finding and discovering new ingredients that can work really well for them. Sustainable and simpler packaging. This is a pro and con, and there's a lot of different things to be said about this, but there's a lot of pros and cons to how that really works, because some people think that glass packaging is a lot more sustainable than plastic. But in reality, the carbon footprint that glass can make is a lot more prominent and prevalent than what plastic is, because glass is heavier to ship. People are talking now about water-free formulations, so like powder-based that you have to rehydrate upon usage. And that is actually a really effective way because water itself is heavy and costs a lot to move and has a carbon footprint as well. So sustainability in skincare, again, it's not a focus that I have, but when it comes to packaging especially as well, or the environmental and social impact of ingredients and the supply chain, I mean, that's more my focus, but there's a lot of complexity and things to it. So it's a big question mark for me. But the last point I'm gonna make is someone mentioned focus on real skin and like the real skin movement. And I know there's a lot of creators who really do make a point of that. Scarry Acne with V, his name is Vlad. He's someone who's really very openly documented his skincare journey, having cystic acne, how he's gone on his journey. Now he's on Accutane, I believe. I have acne and what? He's also a creator that does the same thing. They are, to me, very much front and center when it comes to real skin. On the contrary, I'm someone who I have real skin, and I'm someone who I've come on camera like right now, I don't got makeup on or nothing. This is my real skin. I used to have horrible cystic acne And I've worked long and hard, and I've been really consistent and diligent with my skincare routine to get to the point now where I don't have to wear makeup to go out, which, trust me, it's been a journey. Even in the 3 years I dated my boyfriend, he's seen me, I could not leave the house without makeup on, and what I look like without makeup, and him being like, oh no, like you actually have like skin issues. To now where, again, I'm not wearing makeup, I feel perfectly fine. I have a few blemishes, and that's real skin, but even for me, this is not a common thing. Like usually my skin is good. So this balance of what real skin looks like, yes, real skin has texture. Yes, real skin's not going to be perfect on the day-to-day basis. So many factors go into it. Stress, sleep, not being diligent and consistent with your skincare, not washing your face before bed when you got makeup on, because that's something I still do sometimes. But realistically, what that real skin looks like can be so different for people. And so some people post their skin looking really good and radiant and flawless, which I have been someone to do. I just posted on my story a few days ago how good my skin looked here in Texas. But then I see people critiquing people with skin like that, posting what their real skin looks like. And so I'm kind of torn about how I feel about this, because I feel like when people think of real skin, in my mind, real skin is just focusing on how real skin can look like in real life, up close in natural lighting or whatnot, to really focus on skin has topography, skin has pores, skin has hair, and all these different things that affect how it can look. Whereas I think for other people, they just want to see skin doesn't have to be flawless, which I agree with, but when skin does look flawless, you're not happy either. So I'm torn on this movement, but I definitely love a skin positivity movement. And for me, healthy skin and happy skin is just skin that's well taken care of, skin that is hydrated, skin that is cared for and nurtured. What state that skin is in can vary from person to person. But with that, those are the skincare trends we are ditching in 2021 and hopefully looking forward to in 2022 as per my Instagram followers and my own opinions. Let me know down below in the comment section your own answers to those 2 questions, what trends you're tired of, what trends you're looking forward to, because definitely want to keep the conversation going, and I love reflecting back to these things in the coming year. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, and fancy video content on my channel. Give the video a thumbs up, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.